So we are live now, so we'll wait for a couple of minutes. Okay, I think we can start. Sundaram.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever location you are joining now. We are happy to host our ninth episode of ng-Keralam. And in this session, we have two awesome speakers. One is Mr. Udhay and Mr. Suhas. So, uh, Udhay is also a community organizer and also a active speaker. And also, Suhas is also a active blogger, as well as he is also Microsoft MEP. This is a little bit introduction about our speakers today, and many of you might be joining for the first time today. So I would like to give an introduction about what is Talkify and the ng-Keralam community. Talkify community is mainly focused on Microsoft technologies, and we organize events on every second Saturday of the month, and we have a dedicated Angular community that is ng-Keralam, and we used to organize events on every fourth Saturday of the month. And we have also our meetup group. Please feel free to join there so that you will be getting an instant update about our upcoming sessions. So without much delay, let's get into the session. Over to you, Suhas.
Okay, thanks, Sundaram. So let me share my screen. Okay, okay. So just give me a minute, guys. Okay, fine. Okay, so I hope my sound is audible and you can able to see my screen. So let me make it as full screen. Okay. Okay, so today, so we planned Uday for first session, but yeah, he'll be joining us later. First session, so I'll take the first session. So my topic is build a SignalR application with Angular 11 and .NET 5. So I know this is a kind of maybe you might have not heard about what is SignalR and what is that. So I'll give a small introduction about what is SignalR, and we'll also see some important updates of .NET 5. Like if you're more into a full stack kind of development, maybe you have developed application using .NET Core and .NET Framework. Recently, Microsoft launched .NET 5. So we'll see what is .NET 5, and I'll give a short introduction also about that. And we'll see also some important updates of Angular 11, and I will finally we'll jump onto the demo of how to build an SignalR app, and it's a kind of demo session. So first 30 minutes is a kind of we'll see the slides, and the last 30 will just build an application. Okay. So before jumping onto the session, let me give a small introduction about myself. I am Suhas Parameshwara. I'm working as a senior software engineer for around 3 plus years. So after some time, just creating features was not that much exciting. So I started contributing to the community by writing blogs and giving tech talks. I write blogs at my personal site called devsuhas.com. I also write at techme360.com, and I'm also organizers of two meetup groups, Talklify and TechMe360. So Talklify is mainly focused on Microsoft technologies, as Sundara mentioned. TechMe360 is also focused on Microsoft technologies. Like if you're interested to join our meetup group, you can go to this URL and you can just join our group to get future updates of our events. So this is a small introduction about me, and also I'm a Microsoft MVP. Um, okay, so this is the agenda for today's session. We'll see. I have split it into four segments. Introduction to .NET 5. Like if you are not aware of what is that, we'll see what is .NET 5, and and we'll see some introduction about SignalR and some important updates, and we'll just build an SignalR application. If you have any questions, you can just raise it in the comments. We'll just pick it up at the last. Okay, so first I will give some introduction about .NET 5. Okay, so usually there won't be much points in our slide, so I'll just talk much. But here, this diagram, like if you are into full stack development, so previously we had three standards: .NET Framework, .NET Core, and .NET Standard. So we had three standards, and when I started learning .NET, I thought like why there are three things we want to learn about. So let's say if I want to build an application, I need to explore about .NET framework. So .NET framework is it's a framework like where you can build only Windows applications. And if you want to build a cross platform, you want to choose .NET Core. Like if you want to create a library and you want to use it for both the .NET Framework and .NET Core applications, you go for .NET Standard. So there are three kinds of perspectives which you want to take care of and which you want to learn about it. So I thought why there are three libraries to build these things, but till 2020, I think November or October 2020, we had three standards: framework, core, standard, and most of them, like if they build any cross platform application, they go for .NET Core, and if they want to build only Windows apps, they choose .NET Framework, and if they want to build any mobile applications, they go for Xamarin, which is also a platform which is also a framework used to build mobile application. Like you can build Android, iOS, mobile application, etc. And yeah, so as a beginner, like if you go to the .NET, I will get frustrated of seeing these three things. Why I have to learn three things, and you have to find out the differences between them, and you have to find out the advantages and disadvantages between them, and you have to learn it. I know it's a kind of a bit difficult one, but yeah, but it was you have to do it, right. But after some time, I think in .NET Conf 2019, I guess they announced this framework called .NET 5. I was excited to know about it, and they mentioned it is going to be a single platform, and there won't be any more .NET Framework, .NET Core, and .NET Standard. So hereafter, it is going to be just only one framework, which is called as .NET 5. So I was very much relaxed, because you don't have to learn three standards, right? So just you can just learn .NET 5. But yeah, so that's when Microsoft built this .NET 5. They bought a single standard, which is called as .NET Standard, .NET 5, and you can build a desktop, web, cloud, mobile, gaming, IoT, AI applications, etc. And also they have awesome tools like Visual Studio. Like Visual Studio is available for Mac, and Code, Visual Studio Code, command line interface, etc. So this is a kind of a good thing, right? Like instead of three different platforms, a single platform which does all the things is very much useful. So in .NET Conf 2020, they announced this .NET 5, And actually .NET 6 release candidate 1 is also released, I think a week back. I think it got released. So hereafter this is just going to be just one standard, and you can develop all the applications you want. So this is one of the good thing they introduced. So this is just an introduction about .NET 5. So it's just a framework developed by Microsoft to unite all these .NET standards. But let's say you have an applications that you have built in .NET framework, and you have to migrate it to .NET 5. It is going to be a little difficult. .NET 5 is built upon .NET Core actually. It does not build upon, like, let's say there's a base for .NET 5. The base is .NET Core, so it was built upon .NET 5. So it was built upon .NET Core. And if you want to migrate .NET Core application to .NET 5, it is going to be easy. Like, let's say if you have any dependent libraries, and if they have deprecated methods in .NET 5, that's going to be difficult. But migrating a .NET Core application to .NET 5, I think it's going to be very easy. But if you want to migrate your application from .NET Framework to .NET Core, it would be difficult for you. So um, it would take some time. But yeah, but I think the effort is very much, it will be very much useful for you, because like, I think they'll be deprecating .NET Framework sooner. There was talks going on in one of the conference, but it's good. You can migrate your applications to .NET Core or .NET 5. So they have long-term support for .NET Core 3.2, 3.1, and they also have support for .NET 5. Like, if you have .NET Framework applications, it's good to migrate them to Core or .NET 5. Yeah, it takes time, but I think you have to do it at some point of time. I think they'll deprecate .NET Framework as soon as possible. Okay, so this is just an introduction about .NET 5, and that's all about it. It's just a framework developed by Microsoft, and I also mentioned some of the challenges of the migration. And next thing we are going to see about is SignalR. So we'll see what is SignalR, and why we have to use it. So before going to what is SignalR, we'll see, like, why should you use it. We'll go some practical example, and we'll see why you have to use it. Okay. So, okay, let's start off with the question, like, how HTTP works. Like, we have a client and a server, and everyone would know that be a request, and a client sends a request, and the server sends a response, and a request and a response. So the traditional web applications works in this style, right? There'll be a request response model. So a client should wait until a response is given from the server. But yeah, so this is how HTTP works, like everyone know. And all the web applications are, you'll have an API, and the request will be sent to an API, and API process the data, and it will give you the response. And this is how HTTP works. But let's say there's a live application, something like this. So this site is called as internetlivestats.com. Like, there'll be some live stats going on. Let's say like, there are millions of requests going per second. Like, think of every second needs to wait for a response from the server, and each request, if it's an API call, I think definitely there'll be very much load, right? Instead of, like a response, there'll be a request and response. So you think just in this page there'll be millions of requests going per second. API will be, like, it will slow down, and the performance of the APIs will be very much slower. Like, uh, it- for every live sites, you cannot use HTTP. Like, let's say if you have a live site updating cricket scores, so without refreshing you have to update it. So let's say in most of the applications we have a dashboards, right? So whenever we want to refresh the dashboard, lively, without refreshing the page, it needs to happen, um, uh, it needs to happen asynchronously. Like, we'll go for a signaler. We don't go for any, request response like HTTP, etc. So that's where, signaler comes into picture. Like, if you want to build some live websites, like showing data in real time, something like this I'm showing you in the PPT, um, you can go for signaler. If you go for HTTP, I think it's going to be a nightmare for you. I think you should have a big supercomputer to process these millions of requests per second. even if you build even if you go for NoSQL database or anything, something like that, that be 6 lakhs pending calls, and the performance of the API will not be that good. So that's where SignalR comes into picture. Um, so the same there'll be a client and a server, but here instead of a request and response, there'll be a pipe kind of thing where the data will be flowing through it. So what I'm saying is, so let's say there won't be any request response, so there'll be an established connection between the client and server. So there will always be a connection. So whenever there is a data in the server, it just notifies the client. So it just notifies it, but there's a connection will be established between the client and the server. So let's say when there's a when there's a request sent from the client to the server like it will process it and it will send you the response, and that's it. The connection will be stopped between the client and the server. But what if there's a connection, it is always connected, the client and server, if it is always connected, the flow of data will be very much easier, right? So that's where SignalR comes into picture. Like it will connect both the client and the server, and if there is any change in the in the server, like it just notifies to the client, and our site will be lively updated. So there isn't a no request response here. So there will be a connection established between client and the server, and if a data changes to a server, it just notifies the client, and the client captures it, and it will update, and it will show it in our front end or any application you build. So that's the main advantage of using SignalR, and it uses some different technologies like WebSockets, long time polling, etc. But the most used technology is WebSocket. Um, so we are not going to see it, deep about what are the technologies, because that will take at least an hour to discuss about it. I'll leave you to explore, but this is how a SignalR works. So here in this demo, like we are going to build a WebSocket. So WebSocket, like it is an kind of polling API. Like it establishes a connection between client and the server, and it will help us to flow data between them. So in this demo, we are going to use WebSocket. But yeah, like as I said, they use different technologies. I think there are two more technologies: server long time polling, and one more thing I forgot about it. But yeah, 90% of SignalR applications uses WebSocket, long polling, and they are lessly used. So in this demo, we are going to use WebSocket, and we'll create an SignalR web application, and we'll just use it there. Okay, so I hope you got why you want to use SignalR. Just if you want to establish a connection, and if you want to stay connected between the client and the server, just go for SignalR. And if you want to build a live website, just use SignalR. Okay, and now we'll see what is SignalR. So what is SignalR? It's a .NET library developed by Microsoft, that allows us to build some real-time web applications. So that's very much useful, right? If you don't have SignalR, I think it's going to be a little of difficult um, to build these kind of web applications. But yeah, like I'm not sure how you build a web application, live websites. I'm not aware of different technologies, but when I explored SignalR, I think it was of a right kind choice to build live websites. And also we have Azure service for it. If you know what is like Azure is a kind of cloud provider by Microsoft. Azure also provides SignalR service. You can just if you want to use it in your SaaS application, you can just create a SignalR service, and you can just consume it. Okay, so the second point is it provides an API for creating server to client a remote procedure call. Yeah, like if you are aware of RPC will help us, build to establish a connection between a client and the server. Like until you destroy it, it won't be destroyed. And it supports various techniques, but WebSockets are the mostly used one. And in this example, also we are going to explore WebSockets. Okay, so I hope you got some idea about what is SignalR. It is just a library. You can just consume it in your application if you want. Okay. So we saw two things. The last thing is important updates of Angular 11. Like we'll see what came in Angular 11. Okay, and we'll just straightly jump onto the demo. Okay, some important updates of Angular 11 is Tailwind CSS integration. Yeah, it is one of my favorite. Like if you haven't explored Tailwind CSS, I'll recommend you to explore it because it is one of the coolest framework. Like if you have used Bootstrap, this Tailwind CSS, I would say this is an upgraded version of Bootstrap. You can do all the class as it has inbuilt class. You don't have to write a single line of styling. You can do it, you can do it in HTML itself. They have predefined class for it. If you want to explore more about it, just go for tailwindcss.com and see the site. I think the site itself will be looking very much, it will be cool. Just explore it. And uh, there are various number of users using Tailwind CSS, and upon seeing that from Angular 11.2, the Tailwind CSS, it is coming with Angular 11. Like you don't have to install it externally, but it comes with Angular 11. You can use the Tailwind CSS framework within Angular 11. And the next thing is improved reporting and blogging logging. Sorry. Like they have made changes to the builder phase reporting to make it even more helpful during development. And also they are bringing in new CLI output updates to make logs and reports easier to read. Like there be, the CLI will be looking very much cleaner, and they have a good reports. Like there'll be a table kind of structure. It will show you what's the initial chunk files with the names and the size, and lazy chunk files. Like if you have any lazy loading modules, it will show you in a clear picture. The CLI will be looking very much neat. And the next thing is hot module replacement support. You know, Anchor, it has offered support for HMR, but enabling it, it requires some configuration and code changes, making it less than ideal to quickly include in Angular projects. In version 11, they have updated the CLI to allow enabling HMR when starting an application with ng-Server. Like previously, you cannot. Whenever you start an application, you cannot give HMR, but from Angular 11, if you want to serve your application with HMR, you can just say ng-serve hyphen HMR. Like it will um, it will just load your page with the hot module replacement enabled. Like what is hot module replacement? So just to give an idea about it, so let's say if your application is running in previous versions, whenever we save, the whole applications will be refreshed, and you will be able to see the changes. But if you enable HMR in your application, whenever you do changes and if you just save it, it will be updated lively. You don't have to refresh. The page won't be refreshed. The changes will be updated in a live manner. So that's an idea about hot module replacement, and they bought some good improvements in HMR in Angular 11. So just explore about it. It will be very much useful during development. And faster builds. So they bought in a faster development and build cycle by making updates to some key areas. So whenever you install dependencies, the ngcc update process is now 2 to 4x faster. So ngcc update, like whenever you install some dependencies, it will take some time, but they have improved it now 2 to 4x faster. And now you can also see some faster compilation with the TypeScript version 4.0. So these are some of the important updates from Angular 11. My favorite is Tailwind and Hot Module replacement. Tailwind CSS, I'll highly recommend you to explore it. It will be very much helpful for you. And you can also explore Hot, like if you're a developer and if you're using Angular, I'll recommend you to check out Hot Module replacement. It will be very much helpful for you. And yeah, and that's it. So we have covered three segments of it. So we'll just build an application, build an SignalR application, and we'll see what are the tools you can use and how you can download it and how you can set up your environment to try out SignalR application. Okay. Like if you have any questions, just keep raising it in the comments and we'll pick it up in the last. Okay. So first we are going to build a .NET 5 application. So .NET 5 API, and we'll try to we'll see how you can configure SignalR application. So what are the prerequisite if you want to try out prerequisite to try out this SignalR application? The first thing is a Visual Studio application. Like how you can download it, just to go for visualstudio.com. So if you go for visualstudio.com, there'll be a card to download Visual Studio. Like there are three options here: community, professional, and enterprise. So what's the difference between them? So let's say if you want to try Visual Studio for free, you can just go for community edition. If you have a license for Visual Studio, you can just download enterprise and professional. So there aren't much difference between professional and enterprise, but these two is a kind of paid one. Community is a kind of free edition. If you want, you can just try it out. But Visual Studio is a kind of yeah, like your PC configuration should be a little bit higher to try out Visual Studio. Otherwise, like it'll be kind of lagging. Okay. So you can just click download, and your exe will be downloaded, and the download will be um, very much smooth. Like it will allow you to select technologies to download. So let's say if you once you open it, so I have already downloaded it and installed it, but once you if you are going to install it for the first time, it will ask you to select whether you want to set up an environment for .NET Core web application, or you want to install Azure tools, or if you want to manage your Azure database, etc. Like the installation will be very much smoother, and the UI will be very much clean and neat. So once you download, you'll get this icon. Okay, let me just stop this thing. Okay, so there'll be an icon on the bottom, Visual Studio. You can just click this icon, and this is the opening screen of 2019. So let me just keep it here. Okay, so hope my Visual Studio screen is visible, and I'm going to select create a new project. Okay, okay, I forgot one point. So after installing Visual Studio, you need to download the SDKs, .NET 5.0 SDKs, to try out .NET Core .NET 5 application. Like where you can download it, just search for a .NET 5 SDK download, and that be an first link which suggests you to download .NET 5.0 SDK. You can just click on this. Yeah. So yeah, I think .NET 6 preview has latest. It has released preview one is available, but yeah, always you want to use the stable version in production. So the latest version of .NET 5 is 5.0.3. You have to install the SDK. You can just install the Windows installer on the x64, and you also want to install the ASP.NET Core runtime. You just go to Windows and just install it. So if you click it, there'll be a file which gets downloaded here, and just install it. I'm just going to cancel it for now. And yeah, for Windows you can just click here, and you can just download it. Okay, so as simple as it is. So these are the prerequisite for trying out .NET 5 SignalR web application. um, so once install, after you install Visual Studio, just go for install SDKs of respective versions. So once you install it, just open Visual Studio, just close all these things, and open Visual Studio. Just do a restart after installing all these things, because your SDKs needs to be refreshed. Okay, so here we are going to build a web API. So backend is going to be on web API, and front end we are going to have Angular. Okay, so in this template, already I have this much of things. So here I'm going to select ASP.NET Core Web API. So I'm using C sharp. We can also develop using F sharp, but I'm not, I'm not familiar with F sharp, so I'm going it with C sharp. So I'm going to select ASP.NET Core Web API, C sharp. Like if you, if the template is not appearing in the search here, like you can able to search for the templates, and you can also filter it out using this drop down. So it's very easy. So just select and click next, and give a name for it, for your project. So I'm going to say ng-Keralam demo, and I'm going to click next. So here, here if you, after you install ASP.NET Core Runtime and .NET 5 SDK, there'll be .NET 5.0 option available in this drop down. So just select this .NET 5.0 current, and authentication type, for now we are giving it as none. You can also select Windows authentication, and if you want, if you can go for HTTPS, or you can just check this out. Okay, so for now I'm just giving HTTPS, and I'm selecting .NET 5.0 and click create, and that's it. So that be an empty application will be created with some predefined templates. So we'll just wait for some time before opening uh, this application. Okay, so okay. Okay, so this is my folder structure. Mm, I have a controller. Like if you're a full stack guy, like you know what is a controller. Like in the controller, we'll create the APIs. Um, so for now, we have a controller called weather forecast controller. Okay. Okay, so this is .NET 5 Web API. Like how first we need to register SignalR with this application, right? Like we need to say use SignalR for this application. So where you can do it, you have to do it in startup.cs. So let me just zoom out a little bit. I think it's I'll take this up to 100. Okay, I hope this is visible. Okay. Okay, so first, let me close this one, and let me open this. Okay, I'm just searching for like some predefined code. Um, okay, okay, just give me a second, guys. Okay, so I'm just I saved some SignalR points. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so I have some predefined code snippets, so I'll just paste it. So okay, first you need to add a course thing. So I'll just add it, and I'll just explain it to you, like why you want to add it. Okay, so it's not typing. Okay. Sorry guys, I think my Visual Studio's okay, my keyboard is not working well. Um, okay, that's very bad. Okay. Um, so let me try it now. Control C, and okay, let me just close this one and open it again, because I'm unable to type in this editor. Okay, so let us try. Okay, now it's working fine. Okay, so I am going to add some cars. So because I'm going to like like if you're compiling an application, Angular application, if you give ng-serve, default will be localhost 4200. And we are using HTTPS application, and if you're if you are uh, mm, communicating from HTTP to HTTPS, you'll get an CORS error. Like to bypass that, we are just adding this CORS thing, and you have to add signal, right? Like you have to say to start up like I'm going to use signal in this application. So how you can do it? I'm going to say services dot add signal. Okay. So you have to say I need SignalR for this application. So I'm going to use SignalR. So now we have set to .NET 5 web application. So I'm going to use SignalR for it. And then you need to add an endpoint for your SignalR application. Okay. So before doing all these things, we will just install some packages we need for a SignalR application. So for doing that, you need to click on your project, right click, and just say uh, manage NuGet packages, and just browse for it. And you need to say Microsoft.asp.NET Core.SignalR. So this is the package you want to install it for, like we'll get some helper functions out of it, and we'll just use it in our application. So just install this one and click OK and click I accept. So the respective dependencies will be installed. So this is one of the package, and the next thing is I think this should be fine, I guess. Yeah, so just this package should be fine. And once installing it, if you go to dependencies, you can able to, if you go to packages, you will be able to see this package ASP.NET Core.SignalR. We'll just make use of this package. So just install it. So once it is done, we are going to create an hub. So what is a hub? So let's say uh, there's a site, and so take an example of a chat application. So we are going to build a chat application. So let's say we are in a group chat. For example, take an WhatsApp or Signal app. If you are in a group, if a message if a message in that group, all the remaining members will get notification, right? So likewise, everyone is a hub. So myself, like all the persons in the group, is a hub, and which are we are staying connected in a single group. Like if I give a notification, like if I post a message, like all the hubs should be notified, right? So that's the main part of creating this hub. So how you can create it? So I'm going to say right click and new item, add new item, and I'm going to say, I'm giving some example as chat hub. I'm going to click add. So my chat hub will be added. So let me quickly open this one. Okay. So okay, so we'll just wait to load this application. Okay, so let me just keep it here. Okay, so I have created this chat hub, and we want to, we need some code. We need to implement an interface called hub from that SignalR Microsoft ASP.NET Core SignalR package. So we are going to make use of it. Um, okay, exceeded execution timeout. Okay, I think. Okay, now it came. Okay, so we are going to inheriting this class hub, and we are going to have a function called message. Okay, new message. So we have created a hub class. Sorry, we have inherited a hub class from this package, and we are saying clients.all.send async message received message. So what is the meaning is that? So when I receive a message, it needs to be notified for all my clients. So clients in the sense, the group members are the clients, and everyone should be notified, right? So we are saying clients dot all send async, and we are sending the message. So that's it. So that's a simple chat hub, we have built it now. And once this is done, if you go to startup.cs, you have to mention the respective endpoint, what you are going to use, right? So for the endpoint, in the sense, your signal or endpoint, like how you can define it. You can say just endpoints dot map hub, and you can mention your hub name. It's going to be chat hub. And your endpoint, you can say some push notification or just notification. Okay. So now we have registered the SignalR service, and we have a specific endpoint for SignalR. So your SignalR application will be your base URL slash notification. So that's the base URL of your SignalR web application. So we have a chat hub and we have a startup. So that's it. To for now I have an chat application. For chat application, I've created a hub for it, and I also registered the respective SignalR and SignalR endpoint. And if I just build, okay, so let me close all these things. Okay, if I just run this thing, hopefully it will run. So it will deploy in my IaaS, and it will start running. Yeah, so it's fine. Everything is looking good. So you won't be able to check out whether SignalR is connected or not. But yeah, um, the app is running successfully. So now we have set up the SignalR connection in the backend. Now we have to send a request to stay connected with the server, right? Like how we are going to do it. We are going to use the Angular. So now I'm going to create an Angular application. So let me just minimize, and let me go to okay. So let me just open this one. So let me just open a new window, and I'm going to say, let me go to my project C project, and let me just open in command prompt. Okay, so I'm going to say ng new ng-Keralam demo. So I'm creating an Angular application. Would you like to add no for now? And I'm going to CSS anything. Okay, so it's going to create an web application. Okay, so it will take some time to create this application. So once it is created, what we are going to do is we'll see how we can establish the SignalR connection from our Angular app. So once it is done, we'll just try to simultaneously open two new windows in Chrome, and we'll see are we getting any notification from both the ends. Okay, it's taking some time. Okay, I think it's taking more time. Okay, so let's wait for a minute. If it's not coming, I'll show you the other application which I have developed it earlier. Mm, okay, so it keeps on spinning. Okay, so let's check out Visual Studio one more time. Okay, this looks good. Okay, I think taking some time. So let me open the other application which I have. Okay, yeah, it's done. That's good. So let me open this one. CDT, and I'm going to say Angular. Sorry, ng-Keralam demo. So let me just open it here directly. Open folder. C project ng-Keralam demo. Okay, so now I have this application. First, so I'm not going to create any component. So we just we'll just use a app component.ts. Okay. Okay, so this is app component.ts. So first, we need to register service. So if you have a large enterprise project, I suggest you to create a separate chat or SignalR service and use it. For now, I'm just going to do it directly in component.ts. Okay. So the first thing is you need to install a package. So what package is that? So the package is npm install. Okay, npm install. It's Microsoft slash SignalR. So this is the package developed by Microsoft. To connect both client and the server using SignalR technology. So you just have to install it. The command is npm install at Microsoft slash SignalR. So once you give this, the package will be added to your respective project. So there was a previous package which is called as ASP Netcore slash SignalR, but that wasn't developed by Microsoft. I think that was developed by some community people. But this package is by Microsoft, and now they are recommending to use this package if you want to try out SignalR in Angular application. So once this is added, we'll try to establish a connection between the client and the server. Okay, so this is done. So I'm going to define an hub connection. So I'm going to say hub connection, and this hub connection. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so it has been imported from Microsoft slash SignalR, and I'm going to create a new connection. This dot hub connection equal to new SignalR dot hub connection builder. Okay, and we are going to say dot with URL. Okay, so what we are currently doing is we are trying to create a connection with the respective URL. So what our URL is? So let's say I'm going to this application. So let me try to fetch the URL. So I'm just try it out. Execute. So basically, this is our base URL, localhost 44301. So this is our base URL. So let me just put it in a double quotes. And we had a separate we added an endpoint in Signal. Like if you remember, we added an endpoint in our Signal application. Like if I go to startup.cs, I have this endpoint notification, right? So this is our SignalR endpoint. So I'm going to just copy this and I'm just going to paste it here. So this is our SignalR URL, and I'm going to just say dot build. Okay, so there is some error. I will try to rectify it. So it says with URL, yeah, and it looks fine. First EMD, but current file is a module. Consider consider. Okay, we need to add the import statement. Sorry for that. Import star. I think SignalR from at Microsoft. I think it's caps. Um. Okay. Why it's not. Um. Okay. So let me just take a reference of my old application. I'm wrongly importing some import statements. So let me just copy this one. Import star. Oh, as. Okay. I missed this as. Okay, so now I have this thing. So I'm just going to say implements on it, and I'm just adding this on in it, and I'm going to say ng on in it, and I'm just going to paste this thing here. Okay, so let me just copy this one and put it here. Okay, so now we have built the connection. So we now have built the URL. So we need to start this connection, right? So for that, we are going to say hub connection dot start. Then we are going to say if it is started successfully, just give me a console.log which says signal are connected. Okay. So if the connection is successful, just give me a message which it is connected. Okay. So let's see, like if we are getting this console thing, like if we can able to stay connected with the signal. So I'm quickly going to go ng serve. It'll compile sooner because we have only one file. Hopefully, let me close this one. Um, okay, so okay, it's 50%. Okay, it's taking time. I thought it would compile sooner. Yeah. So once it is compiled, hopefully we'll get the signal or connected console. Um, okay. So we'll just build a button here. So it's button type equal to button, and I'm going to say just send a message. Okay, and send it's just we are going to say send a message, and we are going to and if user click send a message, so we are going to have an say input type equal to text, and okay. Okay, so I'm not going to, because due to time constraint, I'm not going to build this application because it takes time. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say click, okay, click send message. Okay, I'm just going to call a function. So let's see if it has been compiled. Okay, it's taking. Okay, it has been compiled. So let's see if you are able to connect to the signal. So I'm going to open it here, localhost 4200. Okay. So there is an error. Okay, I think it says course. Okay, I thought we bypassed it, but okay, it says negotiate version true. That's bad. Okay, so let me quickly just uh, come on this one, and I leave some empty here, and if I just save it, so let's see now. Okay, the same error. Okay, I thought we bypassed it, but I'm not sure why it's happening. Okay, HTTP localhost 4200. Okay, that's very bad. Okay. HTTPS. Okay, so let me close this one, and I'll also close this one, and um, okay. So I already built an. So let me try to run. I have built already other applications. So let me try to run that application and see if we are getting some output. Okay. So localhost Swagger. So let me just run this application and ng-Keralam. So I'm just closing this as of now. Okay. And npm sorry ng so okay. So I already built an already built an application. So this I have an hub connection, and we did this start, right. So once this is done, so you have to mention this hub connection dot on. So what is this? Like whenever a message is triggered, this on will be notified for all the hubs. So what is this message received? It is the method which has been defined it here. So here in this send, this new message, right? So this is the method name. Like how it know, like how in the front end we know, like the new message should be called. So this get weather function will be called. I have a button in the respective UI, so I have a button click. So when we click get weather, we are invoking a hub connection. So what the name of the hub connection is new message. So what happens is this function will be triggered, and it will say clients all dot send async, and it says message received. So what is this message received? It is a string method, right? So this hub connection will be listening to this message received method. So once it is message received is triggered, the data will be console logged. So that's how it works. But let me show you, like once my application is compiled. Okay, so so it uses a different port. I'm going to say ng serve. So here, once the data is received by all the hubs, I'm just going to I'm just getting console.log. So okay, so once it is compiled, I'll open the application. Okay, so I have localhost 4000 in this window, and I'm going to open the same in other window. So this is localhost 4200 in another window. So this is the console. So this is the console of first window, guys. Like here you can see SignalR is connected, and I have another window. So this is the another second window. So this is the first Windows console. So this window also has its own console. So when I click this button, okay, so let me just put down this breakpoint. So here I have an hey message from the first window console, and I also have the same in the this window console. So basically I have two hubs, two clients. It will be notified for all the clients. So it is same. So I thought of building a chat application, but due to time constraint, I'm just showing you. I hope you understand this concept. Like if I also click here, you see this is the first Windows console. I'm clicking the button second window, it is keeping updated. So this is the main concept, like how all the hubs will be stay connected, and all the messages will be um, traversed between all the hubs. So probably if you search for SignalR application, all the examples will be related to chat application. I can just go through several links. This is a kind of cool technology. SignalR is kind of good technology. If you want to build some live sites, you can just go for it. I think we came to the end of the session. So if you have any questions, just post it in the comments. But till now, I'm not seeing any questions. If you have any doubts, you can reach out to me. So this is my Twitter handle, ng_Suhas. If you have any doubts regarding SignalR or .NET 5 or any clarifications, just uh, you can reach out to me in Twitter. So thanks everyone for joining, and yeah, stay connected and stay safe. Thank you. And next up, we have Udhay, and we'll see how we can implement Angular user authentication with the Auth0. So over to you, Udhay. Uday, I think you're on mute.
Yes, Suhas. Able to hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah, yes, Uday, I can hear you.
Okay. About CAM, is that working?
Yeah, it's fine now. Uday.
Okay, cool. Uh, okay, let me share my screen. Before that, I'll read about the session.
Sure.
Okay. So, Suhas, I just shared my screen. Can you please
Yeah,
all
I'm
see
able
it?
to. Yeah, yes.
Okay. Hey, everyone. Good evening. So, yeah, before I get started, I just want to thank ng-Keralam team for this opportunity to talk about Auth0 and Angular. And I think this is the second session for ng-Keralam this year. What I'm doing. The last session was for South India's largest conference, and this one is the second session. I'm really happy to, uh, happy to take part with ng-Keralam team in delivering different sessions on Angular. Okay, and today's session, I'm going to discuss about how we can use Auth0 to authenticate Angular applications. And I already created a slide on that. You can just follow the slide. I'll just share this link on StreamYard comments, so you can just take a look. I'll just share it with Suhas. He will post it on YouTube comments. Yeah, so just to get started with this, so why I took Auth0 today is I became Auth0 ambassador recently, like 2 months back, and I already delivered a couple of sessions on Auth0, and I really like the way Auth0 is developed and configured, and it's like easy to use. So I just want to deliver different sessions on Auth0. So that's what I plan for next couple of months. So before we see like where exactly you can use Auth0, first we need to think about the problem what we have when we are developing an application, or when we have an existing application that already use some authentication mechanism, right? So when you are creating a new application, first thing that comes to our mind is like how we are going to authenticate your users. So how we are going to do a gate check to make sure that that user is having access to your application, or the user is having access to the specific page within your application, right? So we can do a lot of we can implement a lot of security mechanisms there. Like we can use LDAP, we can use SAML authentication. You can even use like your custom solution. That's all about you. But when it comes to implementing that, it's going to be time consuming, and it involves a lot of testing, right? So that's why we are going with like Auth0 or Okta. Okta is another platform. So these platforms provide authentication as a service, right? So you can just plug in Auth0 in your Angular application or React application or whatever. Even you can use Auth0 for your APIs, right? So you can just plug in Auth0 and you can start using the security mechanism of Auth0. Like you can log in, you can implement login or sign up, or even you can perform like API gateway kind of security mechanisms as well. We can implement with Auth0. Okay. So yeah, so I'm Udhay. So I'm a developer and speaker and author, and I am also an Auth0 ambassador. And reach out to me on Twitter at Ask Udhay if you have any questions on Auth0. Like if you want to become Auth0 ambassador, you can also reach out to me. I will guide you on that, or I will tag you with the respective team who takes care of this ambassador stuff. Yeah. So just say hello to Auth0. So if you are new to Auth0, so this session is going to be a kind of an eye-opener for you to how, to just see how we can implement authentication as a service in Angular application, right? So you're not going to do any login, you're not going to write any login function, or you are not going to write any sign-up functions in your application, like using Java, C# or PHP or anything. All you are going to do is you are just going to use Auth0 service here. Okay. So what is Auth0? So you can just go to auth0.com and take a look. Just take a quick sneak peek of what exactly Auth0 is. Okay. As mentioned here, it's adaptable authentication and authorization platform, and it's available for all development platforms what we have currently. Like it supports JavaScript as well as it supports Java. Right. It also supports iOS. It also supports React Native. So whatever platform you have on your mind, you can implement Auth0. So Auth0 provides development kit for the respective platforms. You can just use Auth0 functions in order to plug in, log in, and sign up functionalities. Okay. So let's take a look at what are the application types we can leverage the Auth0 functionality. Okay, so the first one is native mobile app, something like Facebook or Gmail or any app, like even Meetup app or like any other app like TikTok or whatever. So every app has like login functionality or sign up functionality, right? So if you want to implement sign up and login with 0 lines of code, you can use this native or mobile app. If you go to that, you can see like different platforms that are supported by Auth0. One is Android, the second one is Android specific to Facebook login, and it also supports iOS Swift and iOS Swift Facebook login, and it also supports React Native. Okay, just take a look at other platforms as well. Like it supports Cordova as well, and that's all about mobile app or native. When it comes to single page app, we all know like these are the three important frameworks what we have in JavaScript to support or to develop single page applications, right? Angular, React, and Vue. So all these three platforms are supported by Auth0. So if you, for example, if you go into Angular, it asks for like what your application is, right? You can configure your application. You can have the step-by-step configuration details here. Like in order to use Angular, a specific Auth0 service, like what you need to do, you need to install this package, right? So I'm going to talk about that in a couple minutes. But before that, I'll just go through like what are the application types are supported in Auth0. And the third one is like regular web app. Like think about 6 or 7 years back, how the web was, right? So no single page application, everything was like a server side. Like when you request a page, it always comes from the server and it renders on the browser, right? Say for example, JSP servlets or .NET ASP, ASP.NET or PHP, right? So all those applications are like server-side applications. So those web applications are also supported by Auth0, right? Say for example, Java EE, which is servlet and JSP, and PHP, Python, Ruby on Rails. So all these platforms are supported. Even it supports Apache as well. And coming to the fourth one, which is backend API. Say for example, you like your team is only doing a backend, backend stuff. Say for example, like you create CRUD operation APIs to perform something like creating a resource or reading, sending the resource back to the browser or different devices, or updating the resources or deleting the resources. If your API is dealing with those, if you want to authenticate before performing any specific operation, you can use Auth0 there. So Auth0 basically going to use JWT token in that case. Say for example, when a valid JWT token is sent across with the request to delete a resource, for example, Auth0 will first authenticate whether the JWT token set is valid, and it says, okay, go ahead and delete the resource, right? So you can perform CRUD operations safely using Auth0 as well. Okay, so that's all about these application types, yeah, as I mentioned, Auth0 supports like 30 plus SDKs. Like you can use different development platforms here, and also Auth0 supports the social identity providers. Say for example, you might have seen in like any websites saying like login with Facebook, login with Google, or login with GitHub or GitLab, right? So if you want to implement that, again, you need to go through the documentation of Facebook, Gmail, and you need to configure a couple of things in your application, but just forget about that. So Auth0 is going to provide that feature for you. So all you need to do is just go to Auth0, create an application, and say like what social providers you want to use, like Facebook or GitHub or Google. Just choose which social providers you want to use. That's it. It will automatically get configured for your application. So your users can authenticate themselves using any of these social platforms. And not only that, Auth0 supports multi-factor authentication. Say, for example, when you are, like just username and password is not enough these days, right? So somehow hackers will come to know like what your password is. So we need another layer of security there. So what you can do, you can implement multi-factor authentication. So we already have, say for example, Google Authenticator, right, or Microsoft Authenticator. So those apps, say for example, these are the apps we have, like, right? So Microsoft Authenticator or Google Authenticator or even Auth0 provided Guardian. So they have an app called Guardian. So you can use those apps in order to authenticate yourself for like second factor authentication, basically. That's what we call, right? So implementing that is again zero lines of code. So you just need to configure a couple of things in Auth0 application. That's it. It gets automatically added to your application. And from next time when you log in, it's going to ask for multi-factor authentication. Okay. So any questions or anything you want to share before I move on to the next part of the session? Let me also take a look at the comments just to see if we have any questions. Okay. Okay, no questions so far. Please share if you have anything, or if you want to convey something, like if you are already using Auth0 in your company, just say like where exactly you are using it. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is like configuring Angular application with Auth0. Okay, so I already have an application called Pokemon app, so which is the app I'm using for quite like 1 year and implementing like different stuffs within that. So I'm going to use the same application here. This application is already running in my local. So let me open Pokemon application, and this is the application, and it has like about, home, and Pokemon app. Okay, sorry, Pokemon page, and this Pokemon page is actually making a API call to Poke API. I'll show you that API as well. And when I click on like individual Pokemon character, we all know about Pikachu, right? So when I click on this, it's going to make another call and it's going to bring the Pokemon details. But before that, I just want to authenticate user. So I want my user to be authenticated here, right? Because in order to see the Pokemon detail, like what this Pokemon is, what are the characteristics of this Pokemon, I just want my user to get authenticated before accessing that, right? So to do that, I need to do, in order to implement that, I need to do a couple of things. That's what I'm going to go through now. So the first one is, so where is my slide? Yeah, it's here. I already mentioned like this is my Pokemon application. Just clone it and just follow the rest of the steps that I mentioned here. That's it. You can easily implement Auth0 for this Pokemon application. Right? Okay. The first thing that you need to do here is you need to add Auth0 Angular library. Right? So you need to add this library to your application. That could be even your pet project, something like a Hello World. Just go to your Hello World application after you create ng-new Hello World, and just go into that folder and just add this Auth0 -Angular. This gets added, and if you go to package.json, you will see Auth0 related packages got installed. The one package that you will see here is Auth0/Auth0-Angular, and the version is 1.2.0. I think they have the latest version now, and I'm using. This will automatically bring in the latest minor version. Okay. Okay, all set. So coming back, yeah. So once I add that, I need to create a config JSON. So this config JSON is going to basically have information about my Auth0 related. I would not say credentials, like Auth0 related domain name and other specific details. Okay. So to add that, I am going to create a new file. So I'm using a touch command here because I'm doing everything in Git bash. So using touch command here to create underscore config.json. This will create underscore config.json for me. The file gets created, and you need to add this data within that. Okay. So what this data basically is my domain for my application, like Auth0 application, and the client ID. Okay. So to create that, what you need to do is you need to create your first application in Auth0. So to do that, first you need to sign up. Okay. So go to sign up page in Auth0 and create a new account. Don't worry, you don't need a credit card, and you don't have to pay any money to start using Auth0, right? So Auth0 provides like 7,000 free active users, and it provides unlimited login. So there is no bar set in number of logins with Auth0. So you can even use it in your production ready application that you feel like you can add up to 7,000 free users. Okay, and it supports passwordless. Like your users don't have to remember password. They can use OTP sent to their email or mobile number every time they log in. Okay, and Auth0 also provide lock. I'll show you what is lock later. And also it supports social identity providers like up to 2. You can use Facebook or LinkedIn or even GitHub or GitLab. And also it provides serverless rules. You can set serverless rules like how the password, what is the number of characters that should be in the password, and what are the allowed special characters, and what are the words should not be used in password. So all those rules you can set with this free account. Okay, so you just sign up for a free account using your email ID, or you can use any of the social providers like Google or GitHub or Microsoft. I already created an account with Auth0, and I'm already in the Get Started page. And just jump on to applications and click on Create Application. Okay, so this will take you to the screen like this and choose single page application and click on create. So this will create a new application for you, and you just need to fill out a couple of things. You can skip this part. It's going to ask like which technology you want to use. If you already have the source code ready, say for example, if you are going to clone my GitHub repo, and if you are going to do something with my repo, you don't have to follow any of this. Just jump on to settings, and here you need to fill out some details. See, for example, client ID, domain, they got generated automatically. Copy and paste it under auth_config.json, and make sure you put it as a JSON. Okay, domain and client ID. Got it? And following that, you need to add a couple of things. Say, for example, if you want to have your application specific logo, just give the URL here. So this will remove the default Auth0 logo, and application login URI, like from where the request comes, and what should be the callback URL, and what is the logout URL. Okay, so all these needs to be localhost :4200 just for development purpose. And once you host your application in some servers like Netlify or somewhere, and once you got the domain, just make sure you update your domain name here. Okay, so this is how you need to create an application in Auth0. I already created an application, and it's configured here, which is called Pokemon app. Okay. So just jump on to settings and see here this domain, client ID, and client secret. These are like not editable. These are kind of a default values that are provided by Auth0 itself. Okay, so just copy paste these values to your auth_config.json file. Okay, and following that, as I mentioned before, you need to update your allowed callback URLs. So this will actually call 4200 localhost 4200 after successful login, and this is like logout URL. When you log out from the application, what needs to be done, and this is something like from where the web origin comes from. So this could be like if it is from my domain specific, say for example askudhay.com, I need to specify askudhay.com here. Okay, so this will take care of course related stuff. Okay, and that's it. Other changes you don't have to do anything specific. All set. Once you configure this, this will make sure that this domain and client ID will be used for authenticating your users when they access any of this page within this application. Okay, so for now I added this authentication only to the Pokemon specific page. Say for example Pokemon/5. Look at this bottom of the browser. Say for example Pokemon/7 or /8. So these specific pages need to be authenticated. Okay. So coming to the next step, you need to add this information in environment.ts. This is just for adding this information as a common data for your application. You already know about like what is environment.ts, right? So this environment.ts is something like specific to your entire application. You can access this specific information from any of your components or any of your modules. So we need to add this information under environment.ts, which is specific to non-prod. And so basically what you need to add here is you first need to import domain and client ID from auth_config.json, what we created before, and keep it ready. We are going to pass that in auth JSON object. Okay, so create a constant called environment. I think this is already existing in environment.ts, right? So this is already existing like this. You don't have to create that. So just under this production:false, add this auth object. This auth JSON object is going to have domain and client ID inherited from or imported from auth_config.json, and redirect URL is going to be window.location.origin. From where the request comes, it will just redirect to that. Okay. So this information will be used in the module. I'll tell you what exactly we are going to do next. So next we are going to add this Auth0 specific module to our application, right? So we already installed Auth0 specific package, and you can check that in package.json here. But we haven't used this Auth0 Angular module in any of the places, right? So let's go and inherit or import that module in app.module.ts. As you know what app.module.ts, it's kind of a entry point of our application, entry point for our application. So under this imports array, within this ng module decorator, add this auth module dot for root. Okay, and also make sure you add or you pass this auth object what you created under environment.ts. Okay, just pass this as well to this auth module dot for root. Okay, all set. Just adding this is not going to add authentication for your application. You need to do one more step that I'll tell you later. Okay, so far any questions? Let me take a look at the comments as well. Okay, good, no questions. So moving on to the next step, I would say kind of a final step in Angular application. So go to app-routing.module.ts. We already have this route set up here. Say for example, /home should load home.module, /about should load about.module. Similarly, /Pokemon /colon ID. This is what our individual Pokemon page, say for example, Pokemon /1, /2, or /3, or /100. And this is going to load Pokemon stats.module, and this module is going to display the respective Pokemon detail, right? But this is where the actual configuration for authentication comes into picture. So I added this can activate property for this path, and it's going to use Auth0 service. Okay, and it's going to use Auth0 service. And this Auth0 service is here, which is basically implemented with can activate, can load, and other properties as well. Okay, so this Auth0 will take care of whether your application is authenticated or not. Okay, if it's successfully authenticated, it's going to take you to the respective page. If not, it's going to take you to the if not, it's going to take you to the error page. Okay, I didn't configure the error page, but it's going to display the error page on the Auth0 itself. Okay. Okay. For now, I'm going to remove this can activate, and I'm just saving this file. Let's go back to our application and go to our Pokemon page and click on like individual Pokemon here. Say for example, I'm going to click on Pikachu, and this is not okay. It's still taking me to the. Just a moment. Let me refresh this page. Just a moment. Oh yeah. So we have when we have this configured, like it checks whether Auth0 is loading. If it is loading, it's going to display this loading dot. But again, stop the server and restart it. Let's see. it's not compiled properly, I guess. So all I'm trying to do is I just want to remove this can activate and see if that is not going to take me to the login page of Auth0. Okay. So in the meantime, I'll go through a couple of other stuffs. Okay. So the another thing that I wanted to discuss with you is Auth0 lock, which I was talking about earlier, right? So Auth0 lock is something like a feature, something specific to sign up and log in, and this lock is going to look like same across all platforms. Okay, so this lock widget is going to look like same across Apple devices, Android devices, and even on web. Okay, so this will look like it will look like this. Basically, widget. This widget is going to be used to log in or sign up. So this is the widget I was talking about. So this widget can be used in your traditional web application or even in single page applications, and as well you can use it in your native apps like Android and iOS. The look and feel is going to be same. Okay, so this lock is different from what we are implementing now. Okay, our application is still compiling. Okay, let it compile. In the meantime, I'll go through like a couple of other details as well. Okay. Yeah. So once you configure this application and once you add like client ID and specific domain, all this information to your application, like what you need to do next is you need to enable connections. Okay. So what connections you need to enable is by default this username and password authentication will be enabled. You don't have to worry. This is like authenticating with database, like the traditional one using LDAP or something, right? But here we are not going to do it with we are not going to deal with LDAP here. We are just going to deal with the database that is provided by Auth0 itself, or you can also use your custom database. But you need to plug in your database to Auth0. So when request comes to Auth0 to authenticate, Auth0 will send that request to your database to make sure whether the username and password matches. Based on that, it will let the user move on to the next page. Okay, so that is like username, password, and authentication. If you want to enable like social specific, like Facebook or Gmail, you need to enable that first. We'll enable that, but before that, I just want to take a look at the example. Yeah. So I recompile our application, and I removed the can activate, so I can see the information of my individual Pokemon here without any authentication, right? If I add this can activate here, and I also added this auth0 here. So I'm not writing any service again. I'm just using the auth0 service here. This will basically implement Auth0 provided auth0. Okay. So if I click on like individual Pokemon, it's going to take me to the Auth0 page, login page basically. Okay. So the only option that we have here is sign up. Click on sign up, and I'm going to use Udhay J86 at gmail.com. I'm going to use some password like So I just entered all the details like user email address and password, and when I click on continue, it's going to it's asking whether I need to secure my application, right? So if I want to secure my application, I need to choose like different options here. One is like I can add my phone number and I can continue, and an SMS will be triggered to my account. Sorry, SMS will be triggered to my phone, and this number will also be configured to my account as well. Okay, so I'm not going to enter my phone number here. Rather, we'll go and look out for some other options. Okay, so this is the first time it's asking for phone number. I think I'm accessing it from India. I think it's the rules are a little bit different, I guess. So when I did the same thing from USA, it was not asking for phone number. Okay, let's move on to the next configuration and see how that can be taken care. Okay, so I'm not interested to share my phone number. Even you might not interested to share. You might not be interested to share your phone number, right? So you may feel like it's secure, or you just want to not share your phone number, right? So in that case, how we can tackle that problem here is we can enable multi-factor authentication. Okay, so I'm going to do a multi-factor authentication. So this can this can be either with Google specific authentication. Google specific authenticator like one-time password, or you can also use Auth0 provided app as well. Also, you can use like email or phone message. Okay, since I enable this phone message, that's why it is showing that option. I'm going to disable that. I disabled the phone message. Okay, I cannot because I set this multi-factor authentication always. So that's why I need to use at least one second factor authentication. So the another authentication method what I can choose here is push via Auth0 Guardian. So I just choose this option, and I'm going to refresh this page again. Let me go back to the Pokemon page. Okay, I already created my account, but I need to configure the second factor authentication here. So I can use either Android app or Apple Store app. I already installed the Auth0 Guardian in my mobile. So let me show that. Okay, so this is the app which I already installed in my mobile, which is Guardian app. So I need to scan this code in order to link my account with this multi-factor authentication. So I'm just going to scan this. Okay, I'm just going to scan this QR code. So once I scan it, it successfully added the account. And just in case if my mobile is lost, I can use this code. So I need to copy this code and save it in a secure place. And click on continue. And this is just to let know like whether I need to authenticate using this Gmail. Yes. Okay. Now you can see the information for Bulbasaur is showing here. Okay. So from next time when you click on any of this Pokemon character, it's not asking for login. right? And go to users and roles, and you will see like one user got added, which is udayg86@gmail.com. That's my email ID, which I just used to sign up now. Okay, so this is one way of accessing this application, right? So what is the other way is we need to we can use like social provider. So before doing that, I just want to delete this user itself. So when I delete this user, when I refresh this page, it's going to login page because the user itself not exists, and the JWT token what associated with the user is no longer valid. So it's taking me to the login page. Okay, but I'm not going to sign up now. Before that, I just want to enable social connection. Okay, so I already use database. So like username and password authentication database, which is provided by our Auth0 itself. Like if you want to use your custom database, you can configure it. You can use your custom database as well. Like if you have your database hosted in somewhere in Azure or AWS, you can use that here. Okay. The next one is social. Social is something like if you want to add LinkedIn or GitHub or Facebook, you can use that here. So I'm going to enable like two social login here. The one is Google. Okay. So I'm creating it, and I'm going to enable that for Pokemon app. I have different apps here, but I want to enable this Google authentication for my Pokemon app. Okay, and I also want to use GitHub in addition to that. So go to GitHub and click on continue. Don't worry about the client ID and other stuff, client secret. Auth0 provides a default client ID and client secret for development purpose. So once you move this application to production, you need to get client ID and client secret from GitHub. Okay. So click on create. So now it just added GitHub as well. So we have GitHub and Google. Now let's go and click on this specific Pokemon, and this should take me to the sign up page where you will see continue with Google and continue with GitHub. GitHub should also display here, but it is not, I think. No application is enabled. Okay, so just go ahead and select the application that you want to use GitHub, right? So I'm going to use this GitHub for Pokemon. Just refresh this page. Now you will start seeing login with GitHub as well, right? So continue with Google and continue with GitHub. So I'm going to do continue with Google now. So this will take me to enter the recovery code you have provided during your initial. Okay, so it's still associated my account with okay, it's still associated with this account. So I'm going to delete that. Continue with Google. Okay, looks like it already associated this specific ID before, so we cannot use this ID. Okay, let me try with login with GitHub in that case. So, continue with GitHub. That's what I'm going to try. So this will take me to GitHub, and I'm going to log in. Okay, just sent a verification code to my mobile. I mean, this is something specific to GitHub. Don't get confused with our Auth0. Okay, this is for GitHub verification. So I need to secure this account as well. So continue. So go to Guardian app and scan this code, QR code. Okay, it scanned successfully. And just copy this code just in case if I lost this mobile device, I need to use this code. Okay, click on continue. All set. It took me to the respective Pokemon, right? So go and check the users here. It should say like 2 users. One is based on Google Auth, and the another one is based on GitHub. Okay, so this is how you can configure Auth0 for your Angular application. You can also do SSO integrations, like if you have like a SAML integration or something else, you can go ahead and do that. And you can also set rules. Okay, and you can also modify your universal login page. So this is how the login page looks like, right? So if you want to customize that, you can do it. So this is the default code. You can update this code in order to change that, right? So this is the login page what we are seeing. So if you want to customize that, you can update the HTML code here and save it. It automatically shows in your login page. Okay, and multi-factor authentication page as well you can modify. Okay, so that's all I have. Let's move on to the slides again. Yeah, we already explored how to use social identity providers and multi-factor authentication. I hope you found this Auth0 integration, something interesting. And just give a try. It's not going to take much time. So maximum it will take like 15 to 20 minutes for newbies to create an account with Auth0 and configure a couple of things like adding the Auth0's domain name and other specific details within your application, like configuring the auth cards and other stuff, and run this application in your local. And if everything runs fine, move this application to Firebase or Netlify or somewhere and update your domain name within your application, and you can just share your URL with your friends, and you can just check out how the authentication works. Okay, so that's all from my end, and you can reach out to me on Twitter as I mentioned before. So this is my Twitter handle at @AskUdhay. And I also host Angular meetup sessions. So join my group called Angular. Just a minute. Let me go to the. Sorry. Let me show my group. Angular Hive. Previously it was Angular Online Meetup. So just join this group, Angular-Hive or Angular Hive. We already have like 917 participants there. So I also host like a couple of sessions there. Yeah. So if you want to speak in our meetup sessions in future, just reach out to me. You can reach out to me on Twitter at AskUdhay. Okay, that's all I have. If you have any question, I can go through that. Yes, Suhas, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Udhay. I think that was very good session.
Thank
So I
you.
think I haven't explored Auth0, but by seeing this, I think I'll give it a try. Maybe it is like good to try feature. Yeah, I'll definitely explore it. Thanks for the session, Udhay. And yeah, like if you
Yeah.
have any doubts, or as they mentioned, he also run meetups regarding Angular. You can just reach out to him at Ask Uday if you have any doubts in Auth0. So I think we came to the end of the session. So let me just share my screen. Okay, so yeah, thanks everyone. So thanks for joining, and thanks to Uday for joining us on this Saturday, and thanks everyone for joining. So to get notified about our future events, you can just go to our meetup site. So it's meetup.com/talkify community. So let me just post it. Show it in the banner. So this is our meetup site. You can just go to meetup.com/talkify community, and you can just join our group to get to know further updates on our upcoming events. So once again, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. So we'll meet next month, and thanks for your support. Stay safe, guys. Thank you.